Hi guys. Okay, so I wanted to come to you really quickly and kind of talk about meal plan, meal guide, using your containers. I've had a lot of you say that the nutrition side of the program is what scares you the most, or that you're most worried about, whether it's sticking to or just planning, or not sure how to use your containers, are kind of intimidating. So I want to try to simplify it as much as possible. Maybe try and give you guys a little bit of ease when it comes to using the containers, and just get you ready for the week, because I want to make sure you guys are as prepared and comfortable and confident as possible moving into week one, and getting to the point where by week 2 and week 3 you're like, this is a breeze. So let's get started with let me see, let's get started with the containers. That way we get that out of the way and everything is based around them anyway. So here are your containers. You have a veggie, a carb, a protein, a healthy fat, and an orange, and seeds and nuts and dressings, and a purple. I pulled this from my giveaway stash, because Cruz decided that he wanted to pull my purple one out of the dishwasher yesterday and play with it, and now I can't find it. So I want to make sure that you guys see that there is a purple one in here, and I'll be referencing it, but I don't have it out because I can't find it. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go through your, you should have all already determined what bracket you're in, whether you're in A, B, C, D, and then based on that, they give you a calorie count or calorie bracket, but you're not going to be counting your calories at all. You're going to be counting your containers. So it's just to give you a good idea of how many calories you should be getting in with the container amount that you're given. Does that make sense? So what you're going to do is throw the calorie count out the window. You don't even want to think about it. Like, that's what makes this so awesome, because you don't want to be counting numbers and trying to figure out how many calories is this, how many calories is that. Oh, I can't have that. I exceed. The numbers can play such a mind game on you. What's so cool about the container system is it doesn't matter what's in the containers or what the calorie count is. It's, if it fits in the containers, you can eat it, and it's on your approved list, you can eat it. And it doesn't matter if one day's a little bit more than the next as far as the actual calorie count. Does that make sense? Okay, so what you're gonna do is get familiar, go through your list of approved foods for each for each bracket, for each container. And so, you're going to have on your meal guide, there's a list for what's approved on your veggie, for your greens, for your veggies. And you guys, what's so cool is that there's so many things that are allowed. There's not a lot that's cut, and as long as it fits in here, like I keep saying, you can eat it. So make sure that it's on the list, and that you're measuring out using this as your measuring cup. This is 1 cup, and you can eat it. And so same goes with the proteins and the carbs and the fats and the seeds and dressings and the fruits. Now, there are a couple things that are a little more tricky. Some of you said, oh, well, I don't know how to measure out, my proteins, my meats, or like a chicken breast or things like that. Now, chicken breast is going to be either cutting it up and putting it in here, eyeballing it to make sure it fits. But there are things on the list, so if you go through, you'll take note of the fact that when there are items that don't necessarily fit in here, can't fit in here without being cooked, or so for example, if you want to have eggs for breakfast and it's a red, but you don't know how many eggs before you cook them to do, and so you don't want to waste eggs when once you cook them and then try to fit in there. So a good rule of thumb, and it'll say there, say on your plan or on your meal guide on that list of reds, that 2 eggs is a protein, is a red. So that's a good example of how to portion out something that doesn't have an exact measurement. Or for a purple, these can get a little tricky too, because sugar is a little bit different in all, in fruits. Some are a lot higher and some are a lot lower. So for example, like a banana, a half of a large banana is 1 purple. So you wouldn't necessarily need your container for that, because you just know based on the list given. Also, let's see, like 2 orange, like 2 like QD mandarin oranges are a purple, because you're not going to open them and then measure them out and then waste them, right? So, or even like you get 4, if I believe correctly, 4 pieces of turkey bacon, or 6 slices of turkey lunch meat, things like that. It'll give you exact numbers if it differentiates from just filling the container. Does that make sense? So if it doesn't specify the exact number of an item that you get, it just simply goes in your container. I hope that is clear and makes sense. So what I would suggest doing, there's a couple ways, and someone said something about not knowing how to like measure out salads or things like that. And I'll be honest, I shared something in my regular group last week that salads are kind of the easiest thing to use your containers by. So we had, I believe, taco salad. They're so easy because all you do, everything's already portioned out, right? So, or separated when you're serving your meal. So all you have to do is put, okay, your lettuce, your tomatoes, and however many green containers you need of your veggies. You fill up that. Then you take your ground turkey or your chicken breast or whatever, put it in there. Then you take your, let's say we had taco salad, so black beans in here. And then I had my avocado in here. And then I think, did I have some salsa can also be used as a purple. So sometimes I'll use like a half of a purple or whatever. But anyways, so you literally have your exact containers filled up. You can count. I have 2 greens, 1 red, 1 yellow, 1 blue. Does that make sense? And then you just pour it on your plate. And it's so easy, and it feels like you have a home-cooked meal. So I hope that clears up how to measure salads out and things like that. So with that being said, sorry, I'm so winded right now from talking, and this baby has got me all winded and out of breath lately. So with that being said, the portioning out things like salads, there's a couple ways that you can create your meal plans. If you guys are feeling super, super overwhelmed with adding the containers into your planning and prepping, and it just seems like it's so overwhelming and confusing, here's the deal. There's a couple ways you can do it. If that's how you feel, I always like to tell people to start off eating straight from the containers. We have this amazing meal guide, and I hear nothing but good things about it. And trust me, like, I've seen the food, I've looked through the guide, I've watched people be eating it and talking about it, and it's insane how good this food is. So I really do want you to try it. But if it's too overwhelming, I like to tell people, especially in my regular groups, start eating straight from the containers. If you don't get bored doing that, if you don't get bored saying, okay, in the morning I'm gonna have let's see, I like chicken sausage. I'd have to go back and look today to see if that's approved on this meal plan. But for example, on like a normal meal plan for me, I would have a container chicken sausage and a purple of mixed berries for breakfast. And then I know it's straight from the containers, put it on my plate, or eat it straight from out of the containers, and I'm done. So then I take, that's my meal one. Then in the afternoon, I know I'm going to have, let's say either for my snack or my lunch, I'm going to have my shake. And so remember, your shakes are a red, they're a protein, so you have to count them as a red container. And then I put half of a banana, and then I put, a teaspoon. So you get teaspoons like oils, nut butters, things like that. So I'll use a teaspoon of natural peanut butter, and then I always put cabbage in mine because it's heartier and it bulks it up. But some people will put spinach, things like that. Seriously, straight from the containers into the blender, and obviously with ice and water. And obviously water is free. So there's that. And that's a little more technical because you're actually mixing it all together. But things like the salad, straight from the containers. You're literally just filling the containers, putting it on your plate. Now, once you get more comfortable, if, and this becomes more of a habit for you, you can start to get a little more creative and dive into that meal guide, because the great thing about it is, one, it has all of the counts on the meal, like on the guide. So you don't have to you don't have to use the measuring cups, because it gives you the measurements of everything that you need to add into the ingredient list, and then it gives you what the meal counts for. It counts for a green, a red, and a blue, or a purple, a yellow, and an orange, or whatever. So you just have your recipe, and you make that recipe, and then you check off what containers they allot for that. Does that make sense? So at the top it'll say this recipe counts for these containers, and then you just mark it off. Now if you're getting to the point where you want to try something new, and you don't want to create your own container count off of a recipe, there's a ton of recipes on Pinterest or online that you can find that have if they're 21 Day Fix approved, they'll have the container count. But for this week, and that's just getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, for this week I really either want you to stick to the containers, eating straight from the containers. If you get bored, if that's not really your style to begin with, stick to the meal guide that's provided for this program. It may seem overwhelming at first, but I think that you'll really enjoy it, and you'll really learn how to use these, and it'll become kind of like second nature, and it'll just become natural. With that being said, there's also this tally sheet that I referenced in one of my welcome videos, and I live by these, especially when I'm at home, and two, when I first got started. Like I literally have stacks of these in a notebook that I just keep on the counter, and I, hole punched them and have them in a binder, and I just day by day check tally off. So what I'll do is, like I said, so in the morning if I have a red and a purple, then I'll for my first meal I'll just make a tally mark or a check mark, and then as the day goes I know how much of each category I have left, and then it just makes it super easy. Now when I'm making my meal plan, I referenced this before too in one of my welcome videos, I believe, on the meal plan template, the blank meal plan template that I also posted in the files and info section here in the group at the top of the page. I will go through, and let's say, so for me, dinner is my favorite meal of the day. It's where I sit down with my family and we, eat, trying to get in. It's my favorite meal because I get to spend it with my family and we're not running around and we're all sitting together. So I always start with my meal plan with my dinners. And for the day. And so I know that I'm going to enjoy my biggest meal or my favorite meal of the day with all the things that I love the most. And so I'll find a recipe or use whatever recipes we love, having on the regular, and I'll start there and I'll fill it in, and then I'll take colored markers and I'll put dots to represent my containers for which colors I'm using for that meal, so that when I go through, I know that on my dinner I've used X amount of containers, and then the rest of the day, so then I'll go to my second favorite meal of the day, which would probably be breakfast, which I'm going backwards here because my finger's mirrored. So I'll have a red and a purple. And then from there, I know that I have, X amount left for the day, and then I'll fill out the rest with my 1 to 2 snacks and my lunch. Does that make sense? And so then by the end of the day, I've used up all the containers that are necessary. Sorry, the vacuum just came on. I hope you guys can't hear that. And so I know that I've gotten in all my containers. There's a couple other things I wanted to reference. And please message me if none of this is making sense or it's making it more confusing for you guys. But really, this is like, I live by these because it keeps me on track. It makes me know that, it makes me know that I'm getting all my food in. It's important to get all your food in. I cannot stress that enough, especially with this program. It's going to be intense, and you need to get in all of your food because it's going to keep your metabolism up, and it's going to keep you fueled, and it's so important. I can't stress that enough. I've had people come to me in the past and say, I can't get all my containers, and I'm like, just do it. You have to do it. There's no exemption. You have to do it. Don't skip out on your meals, because that's what's going to bring you crashing down in your energy level and in your metabolism. So there's a reason, there's a formula to the amount of containers that you get. I live by these. It also makes me feel confident that I'm doing what I need to do and that I'm doing it correctly. And then I'm staying on track, and that makes me feel really good. Okay, so there's a couple things I wanted to reference. I've had several of you ask me about coffee. Yes, coffee is allowed on this program, but it's only allowed black. So I know that some of you might literally die if you have to drink or go without coffee or drink it black, and some of you would rather go without coffee than drink it black, which I get, black coffee, and I'm just not into it either. So for me, I would just go without. But let me turn this vacuum off really fast. If you feel like you just can't survive without it and you can't drink it black, a splash of unsweetened almond milk is not going to kill you or deter your progress in this group or with this program. I've also had people ask me about alcohol. I'm going to say for the next 3 weeks, no alcohol. It's not allowed on the plan. It's not something that I'm really willing to budge on. Now listen, this is only 21 days. Only 21 days. You can do this for 21 days. I promise it will be, it may seem really hard. And while you're in it and when you're in the thick of it, you're like, oh man, I could just use a glass of wine. But please do your best to try to stick to this, because it is only 21 days and you can do it. And to be honest, like, because this is a test group, I'm really testing what this program is capable of, and I really need you guys to stick to what's allowed. So me saying that you can have almond milk is not really what I had hoped. I totally forgot about coffee when someone asked me about it. I was like, oh shoot, I forgot about coffee, and then that's going to be a problem for a lot of people. So I'll allow that because I know I love my coffee too. But alcohol, I can't budge on that. It's only 21 days, you guys. And to be honest, in my normal group, if this is something that you guys want to continue, which I all hope that you do want to continue with me after the 21 days, because it's not just about 21 days, right? It's about jumpstarting your fitness, jumpstarting your health, and continuing on. And so in my regular groups, the group that you'll be transferred to after this group, I'm a lot more laid back. I completely live my own life and stress to others that it's all about balance and enjoying the things you love occasionally, because if you don't, then this will never work. And you'll just go crazy thinking and knowing that you can't have the things you love and enjoy, and then you're just going to go right back to your old habits. So I really do firmly believe in balance. So that means the occasional, glass of wine, or a couple of drinks on the weekends with your friends, or by the campfire at summertime, or by the pool, or whatever it is. Or the cheat meal, the dinner out that you don't want to necessarily stick to your meal plan. I get that, because it's life and we can't live so strictly every minute of every day. But for this group, for the 21 days, I'm really begging and asking y'all to stick to this as much as strictly as possible, just so that we can show and prove what this can do, show and prove what you're capable of, show and prove what these meal plans and meal guides and containers and this program, which is insane, can do to you in 21 days. Does that make sense? I hope that I'm not coming across too harshly, because I want this to be fun, but I also want you guys to see your potential, because I know you can do it, and you are full of so much potential. And I promise you, as hard as it is, like I said, in the thick of it, in the middle of this, day 2, day 3, week 2, the last couple days of week 3, when you're like, oh, we're almost there, as tough as that is going to be, or can be, or you might feel like it is at the time, when you're done and you not only see those before and after pictures, because yeah, those are amazing, and you want to be able to see, it's so important for people to see the difference and see the physical outcome of all of their hard work, but the way you feel, the way that the way you feel in your skin, in your confidence, in the way you just feel empowered because you did something that you really thought was so hard, and you really thought you'd never make it through, but you did it. There's nothing like that feeling. Oh, and I promise you, I've been there, and I thought, when I started this journey, I was like, oh, what am I doing? I'm crazy. I can't do this every day. But you know what? I did it because I had a calendar. I marked off every day on my calendar. I printed off the schedule. So that's a good way to stick to everything, is print off this Shift Shop schedule and mark off every day, and feel like every time you put an X through that day on the calendar, that you are doing something so good, and that you conquered another day, and that you feel so good about yourself, right? And that you believe that not only because you got through today, you can get through tomorrow, and that you can get through the next week, and the next 3 weeks, and then the next month after that. So anyways, I know that this is going to be tough. I'm going to be right along with you, doing as much as I can, modifying. I've even got my husband on board to do these workouts with me, so that you guys can see someone actually doing it full out when he is able and in town from work. And so I am really excited to be able to get started on this with you. And like I said, for me, especially right now, things have been tough. And I don't know from day to day what I'm going to be capable of doing, because one day will put me on I'll have a lot of energy and I'll do way overdo it, and it'll put me on my butt the next day or really limit me. So I'm gonna be in it right with you, and I'm gonna be pushing myself as I can, as I'm capable of, because we only put limits on ourselves. And if you don't push yourself, no one's gonna push you. No one's gonna be able to do this for you. I can be here and I can do all of the motivating and encouraging, but I'm not in your kitchen and I'm not in your living room pressing play. I can do my part by pressing play here and eating my meals and sticking to my plan, but I can't do it for you. So we're in this together, and it's just relying on each other sort of a thing, and we're gonna do this. And even on the days we struggle, that's what we're here for, right? So reach out to me, reach out to each other, encourage each other, and we're gonna get through this. We're gonna do it. It's only 21 days. We can do it. And all right. So if you have any questions,